Anaheim, California. A city that today is known for its dazzling lights, world-famous attractions and vibrant culture. But beneath the modern skyline lies a past filled with mystery, transformation, and hidden stories that shaped not only Orange County, but the very history of Southern California itself. Located in northern Orange County, Anaheim is part of the greater Los Angeles area. As of the 2020 census, more than 346,000 people called it home, making it the most populous city in Orange County and one of the largest in all of California. Yet, its origins are far humbler and far more intriguing. The story begins in 1857, when 50 German families set out to carve a new life from the wilderness. They named their settlement Anaheim, a combination of Anna, for the nearby Santa Ana River, and the German word Heim, meaning home. What began as a modest agricultural colony would grow into a city of global recognition. Incorporated in 1876, Anaheim was one of the earliest established communities in Los Angeles County, long before Orange County even existed. For decades, Anaheim's fertile land produced vineyards, citrus groves, and later, a thriving agricultural industry. But in 1955, everything changed. With the opening of Disneyland, Anaheim transformed almost overnight. Fields and farms gave way to hotels, motels, and neighborhoods. What was once an agricultural town became an international destination, forever altering the course of Anaheim's history. But Anaheim's story doesn't end there. Industry soon flourished. Electronics, aircraft parts, and food production turned the city into a powerful economic center. Meanwhile, the city's boundaries stretched nearly the full width of Orange County, encompassing neighborhoods as diverse as its past. From the historic Anaheim Colony District to the modern Platinum Triangle, from the industrial Anaheim Canyon to the master-planned Anaheim Hills, each corner of the city tells a different chapter of its story. Anaheim, California, is more than just the home of Disneyland or professional sports teams. It is a city built on ambition, resilience, and reinvention. Its history, layered with mystery, perseverance, and change, continues to shape the heart of Orange County. So when you walk through Anaheim today, remember, behind every building, every street, and every landmark lies a hidden past. A history waiting to be uncovered. Long before Anaheim became a bustling city, this land carried stories that stretch back thousands of years. The first known chapter of Anaheim's history belongs to the Tongva people, who inhabited the region of Southern California as early as 3500 BCE. Here, on the very ground that would one day become Anaheim, stood a great Tongva village called Hutukuga. It was said to be one of the largest in all of Tavanger, the Tongva world. Life here was deeply connected to the land. Oak trees, sage, and native plants sustained the people, while rabbit and mule deer provided meat. The village thrived through far-reaching trade networks, linking coastal settlements with those farther inland. For thousands of years, this was a place of balance, resilience, and tradition, a foundation of Anaheim's history that still lingers in quiet echoes today. But the winds of change swept across California in the Spanish and Mexican eras. The lands of modern-day Anaheim, along with Placentia and Fullerton, became part of the vast Rancho San Juan Cajon de Santa Ana, a land grant awarded in 1837 to Juan Pacifico Ontiveros by Governor Juan Bautista Alvarado. With the American conquest of California, Ontiveros secured his claim. Yet by 1857 he would sell over 1,000 acres to a determined group of settlers, 50 German-American families searching for a new beginning. And so began the founding of Anaheim. These settlers, hailing from San Francisco but with ancestral roots in Rothenburg ob der Tauber in Bavaria, purchased the land for just $2 an acre. Their vision was bold, to build a community devoted to vineyards and winemaking. They formed the Anaheim Vineyard Company, led by George Hansen, and christened their new home Anaheim, meaning home by the Santa Ana River in German. Over time, the name was shortened to the Anaheim we know today. To their Spanish-speaking neighbors, this German settlement was simply Campo Alemán, the German field. But Anaheim quickly grew into much more. Though few of the settlers had experience in winemaking, they built homes, a town center, and even established the first school in 1857. The Anaheim Gazette newspaper began publishing in 1870, and by 1871, a hotel welcomed travelers into this rising community. By 1870, Anaheim's population stood at just 565, but its ambitions were vast. For 25 years, Anaheim was California's largest producer of wine, its fertile vineyards stretching as far as the eye could see. But in 1884, disaster struck. A devastating plant disease swept through the vines, erasing an entire industry almost overnight. Yet Anaheim did not fall. The settlers turned instead to new crops, walnuts, lemons, oranges, and vegetables, that flourished especially after the arrival of the railroad in 1887, linking Anaheim to the rest of the nation. From Tongva villages to Spanish ranchos, from German vineyards to booming orchards, Anaheim's history is a story of resilience and transformation. A land where each era has left its mark, shaping the city that stands today. In the late 19th century, Anaheim attracted more than farmers and settlers. It also drew artists, visionaries, and dreamers from across the world. Among the most remarkable was the celebrated Polish actress Helena Majewska, who settled in Anaheim with her husband and close companions, including famed novelist Henryk Sienkiewicz. In Anaheim, Helena formed a deep friendship with Clementine Langenberger, the wife of local pioneer August Langenberger. Their bond was so enduring that two neighboring streets, Helena Street and Clementine Street, were named in their honor, forever linking their names as symbols of loyalty and friendship. Today, Majewska Park in West Anaheim also preserves her legacy, a quiet reminder of the cultural depth woven into Anaheim's history. As the calendar turned to the early 20th century, Anaheim was still far from the bustling city we know today. Back then, it was a sprawling rural community defined by endless orange groves, their blossoms filling the air with a fragrant promise of prosperity. Landowners like Bennett Payne Baxter transformed these groves with pioneering irrigation techniques, innovations that not only made him successful but lifted the entire community. His influence still lingers, memorialized in the name of Baxter Street near Edison Park. It was also during this era that Anaheim's first park superintendent, Rudolph Boysen, left his mark. From 1921 to 1950, Boysen dedicated himself to Anaheim's green spaces. But his true legacy was far sweeter. He created a hybrid berry unlike any other. Later named the boysenberry by Walter Knott, this fruit would eventually help inspire Knott's Berry Farm, forever tying Anaheim's rural roots to Southern California's cultural landscape. Boysen Park in East Anaheim still carries his name, a tribute to the man whose creativity nourished both land and legacy. Thus, in the early 20th century, Anaheim was more than just farmland, it was a place of invention, friendship, and transformation. The seeds planted here would continue to shape Anaheim's journey, preparing it for the moment when the world's attention would shift to this quiet community, changing its destiny forever. By the 1920s, Anaheim's history took a troubling turn. In 1924, members of the Ku Klux Klan swept into local politics, winning seats on the Anaheim City Council. Their rise marked a dramatic challenge to the long-established German-American elite who had guided Anaheim since its founding. These early German Americans, with their traditions of moderate social drinking, had little desire to enforce the strict prohibition laws of the era. Even the mayor was a former saloon keeper. But the Klan, led locally by the minister of the First Christian Church, promised something different. They sought to build what they called a model community, a place where prohibition would be absolute and where their vision of order could prevail. By then, the KKK had nearly 1,200 members in Orange County. Their platform struck a chord with some, and in April of 1924, they easily won the election. Once in power, the Klansmen acted swiftly. City employees who were Catholic were fired and replaced with Klan loyalists. Over the summer, the group staged massive rallies and initiation ceremonies, proclaiming their dominance. Anaheim, once a quiet agricultural town, suddenly stood in the national spotlight as one of the largest cities in America under Klan control. But Anaheim's history would not be defined by this chapter alone. Opposition quickly organized. Anti-Klan forces infiltrated their ranks, obtained secret membership lists, and exposed them to the public. By 1925, the backlash was fierce. In a special election, the people of Anaheim voted to recall the Klansmen from power. Their local newspaper collapsed under the weight of a libel suit, and the minister who had led them fled to Kansas. Just as quickly as they had risen, the Klan in Anaheim disintegrated, leaving behind a dark scar in the city's history, but also a story of resistance and redemption. As the mid-20th century unfolded, Anaheim turned its focus toward growth and reinvention. Highways expanded outward from Los Angeles, opening the door for new industries and waves of suburban development. California's Division of Highways even designed dispersal efforts to spread the population across Orange County, ensuring that in the nuclear age Anaheim and its neighbors would not form a vulnerable cluster for atomic attack. Thus, Anaheim's mid-century story is one of contrasts, shadows of intolerance followed by sweeping transformation, as the city prepared to reinvent itself once again in the decades that would follow. Not all of Anaheim's history is golden. On June 21, 1985, the city became the stage of one of Orange County's worst environmental disasters, the Fricker Fertilizer Factory fire. The blaze began inside a pesticide warehouse owned by the Larry Fricker Company. What seemed at first like an industrial fire quickly turned into a nightmare. For 4 relentless days, flames consumed the facility, releasing a toxic cocktail of more than 80 different chemicals into the air, among them methyl bromide gas and deadly organophosphates. Winds carried the fumes into surrounding neighborhoods, and within hours the air grew heavy, skin burned, and residents reported an unbearable itch. Evacuations came late, 14 hours after the fire began. By then the damage was already unfolding. Over 7,500 people from working-class neighborhoods across Anaheim, Fullerton, and Placentia were forced from their homes. The 57 freeway shut down for 2 days. Hospitals filled with cases of lung irritation, boils, and rashes. The cleanup revealed just how close disaster had come. Crews removed 4 tons of ammonium nitrate, fearing further explosions. A $100 million class action lawsuit was filed against the company, but it was eventually broken apart into smaller cases. Out of this tragedy came reform. California passed new laws mandating that businesses disclose the type, quantity, and location of toxic chemicals stored on-site. A legacy written in regulation, but paid for in human suffering. The Fricker fire remains a dark reminder of the hidden dangers buried within Anaheim's industrial past. Yet even as tragedy struck, Anaheim was also rising to global fame. Just 3 decades earlier, on July 17, 1955, Walt Disney opened the gates to Disneyland. Built on 160 acres of former orange and walnut groves, Disneyland instantly transformed Anaheim. Visitors poured in by the millions, forever altering the city's identity. Walt Disney had dreamed of controlling the land around his park, but the cost of construction left him unable to purchase more. Opportunistic developers rushed in, lining the streets with neon-lit hotels, motels, and restaurants, an explosion of commerce that the city welcomed for its tax revenue. Ironically, Disneyland became surrounded by the very type of clutter Walt had hoped to avoid. By the mid-1960s, Anaheim's explosive growth drew not only tourists, but professional sports. The California Angels relocated from Los Angeles in 1966, the Los Angeles Rams followed in 1980, and in 1993, Disney created Anaheim's own National Hockey League team, the Mighty Ducks. Anaheim was no longer just an agricultural town or even a tourist hub. It had become a stage for sports, entertainment, and industry. In the 1990s, as Disneyland expanded with the construction of Disney California Adventure Park, the city unveiled the Anaheim Resort District, a sweeping rebrand of the area surrounding Disneyland, the Convention Center, the Honda Center, and Angel Stadium. Neon was stripped away, replaced by modest signs and tree-lined boulevards. Even the historic Fugishid Strawberry Farm was sold for nearly $100 million to Disney, becoming home to a Hilton Hotel and the massive Toy Story parking lot. This was the Anaheim of the late 20th century, a city marked by contradictions. Environmental disaster and urban rebirth. Local tragedy and international fame. From toxic smoke to fireworks over Disneyland, Anaheim's history has always lived in the space between shadow and spectacle. The dawn of the 21st century ushered in yet another transformation for Anaheim. In 2001, Disney unveiled Disney's California Adventure, the most ambitious expansion in the history of Disneyland. By 2010, the park was renamed Disney California Adventure Park, adding an entirely new chapter to Anaheim's global reputation as a destination for dreams and imagination. In 2007, the city celebrated its sesquicentennial, marking 150 years since the founding of Anaheim. It was a moment to reflect on its journey, from the Tongva people to German pioneers, from sprawling vineyards to the rise of Disneyland. But beneath the celebration, tension simmered. In July 2012, Anaheim became the stage for one of its most turbulent modern events. After the fatal police shooting of 2 Latino men, one of them unarmed, anger erupted in the streets. Protests spread across neighborhoods between State College and East Street. What began as an outcry against police brutality quickly expanded into a broader critique of life in Anaheim. Concerns over gang violence, the domination of the city by commercial interests, and the lack of political representation for Hispanic residents. The unrest escalated into looting and clashes, forcing the city to confront the deep divides hidden beneath its polished image as a tourist capital. Thus, in the 21st century, Anaheim remains a city of paradox. It is the home of Disneyland, where magic draws millions from around the world, but it is also a place where real struggles for justice, identity, and representation unfold. Anaheim's history has always been written in contrasts, between dream and reality, spectacle and shadow, celebration and conflict. And its story is far from finished. If you found this journey into Anaheim, California, history fascinating, don't stop here. The past is full of hidden stories waiting to be uncovered, and we bring them to life every week. Subscribe to History Love, your go-to YouTube channel for exploring the mysterious and captivating stories of the past. Hit the like button, share this video with fellow history enthusiasts, and let us know in the comments which city's hidden history you'd like us to explore next. Because every place has a story, and every story deserves to be told.